The international community intensifies efforts to revive the installed peace process in Yemen. Houthi force civil servants to sign disputed code of professional conduct. Houthis paved the way to seize bank funds in the areas under their control. Good evening. Welcome to Yemen Today TV. I'm Abir Ali and you are watching the English news. The international community is doubling efforts to reviving the installed peace process in Yemen. The intensive meetings that both the United Nations and the U.S. Special Envoys are holding with Yemeni and Saudi officials in Riyadh are in this context. This report has more.
The Houthi militia continue to drag down Yemen due to their inflexibility and insistence on continuing the war against the Yemeni people, strictly in pursuit of Iran's agenda. According to the UN, hundreds of thousands of people have died directly from fighting as well as indirectly, and millions have been displaced. Recently, the US and UN envoys to Yemen began a visit to Riyadh in order to restart the country's stalled peace efforts. Separate meetings were held with the chairman of the Presidential Leadership Council, Dr. Rashad Al-Alimi, with the US envoy Tim Linderking and UN envoy Hans Grunberg. During the meeting, Alimi talked on the most recent events in Yemen, as well as regional and global efforts to restore peace in Yemen amid threats posed by the Iran-backed Houthi militia to global oil routes. Alimi emphasized the Presidential Council's and government's efforts to achieve peace, as well as their positive attitude towards the UN-sponsored nationwide truce, which was in effect from April to October 2022. Unfortunately, the Houthis' rejection to extend the truce led to its collapse. After their rejection to renew the UN-brokered truce, they carried out a number of terrorist assaults on oil and port facilities, which are vital to millions of Yemenis. Over the past years, the Yemeni people experienced extreme suffering like the effects of the war, ongoing economic crisis, and disrupted public services. The conflict in Yemen began in 2014, making everyone extremely vulnerable to death and famine. In addition, the conflict has displaced more than 1 million people and given rise to cholera outbreaks and threats of famine. Due to the ongoing inhumane acts and serious violations committed against millions of Yemenis, their lives have turned into a living nightmare. The Houthi rebels are not only rejecting all peace efforts, but they also threaten to renew fighting on the battlefield. The peace process in Yemen has yet to make any significant progress, yet Yemenis still have hope for a better future.
OCHA stated that Yemenis are experiencing the largest global food crisis in modern history. The organization added that people in Afghanistan, Ethiopia, Haiti, Somalia, South Sudan, and Yemen face famine conditions. The organization warned that without sustained and immediate action, 2023 will be catastrophic of those countries.
Yemen, the worst famine the world has seen in 100 years. Right now, over 8 million people are facing starvation. Since the beginning of the war, 85,000 children have died due to the lack of food. We cannot allow this to continue. The Yemeni people can't wait.
The Yemeni Lawyers Syndicate suspended the membership of 2 staff affiliated with the Houthi militia. They referred them to the Disciplinary Council because they stormed, besieged, and closed the Yemeni Lawyers Syndicate headquarters in Sana'a. The syndicate indicated that they hold unprofessional behaviors responsible, which contradicts with the values, principles, and ethics of the profession. The Houthi militia forced employees of staff institutions in the governorates under its control to sign to the so-called Code of Professional Conduct. The militia imposed the contract on employees in various government facilities in exchange for half of the salary announced in the past days. Identical sources said that the Houthi militia forced thousands of employees in various governorates, starting from Sana'a and moving to the rest of the governorates. Local sources reveal that the Houthi militia is paving the way to seize the bank funds in the areas under their control. This comes with the rebels' systematic policy of looting public and private properties. This report has more details.
The Houthi militia has frozen 1.7 trillion riyals, which is the total investment of commercial banks and government debt over the past years. The frozen funds were transferred to non-withdrawal current accounts. Houthi justified their move by saying they are combating and preventing loan sharking in banking transactions. A few days ago, the Houthi-controlled central bank in Sana'a issued a decision to freeze the investments of commercial banks in government debt bonds, according to sources in the Yemeni Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Such a step preludes confiscating the profits of commercial banks and cancelling a large part of the internal government debt owed to banks, under the name of stopping related transactions. In the aftermath of the Houthi militia taking over the central bank in Sana'a, commercial banks were unable to recover their investments in treasury bills, government bonds, and certificates of deposit. Moreover, the central bank's cash holdings also collapsed. Assets held on the premise amounted to 2.8 trillion riyals, according to 2014 data. But when Houthis stormed Sana'a, the value of these assets in dollars fell from $13 billion to $5 billion. The Houthi coup had driven the national currency's price against the dollar down. The Houthi bill will undermine a number of laws, for most of which are the Central Bank of Yemen law, the banking law, the microfinance law, and others. Some economic experts have warned of the danger of reducing legislation and laws regulating banking to a draft law that doesn't exceed 12 articles. The situation of the citizens in Houthi militia-controlled areas is getting worse day by day, and poverty is spreading in an unprecedented manner, while militia members are getting richer.
Coming next in the news. Malnutrition continues to haunt lives of Yemeni children nationwide.
ننشر ندي ماء من الغيل والغيلة تبعيد كنا ندي بالدواب نعبي ماء وتشجعنا ننزل الساعة 5 رجعنا الساعة 9
ما يجي لنا ظهر لأن زحمة ما حد لي يخلي الجهل يغرف وإحنا تعبنا زيادة.
وكنت أحس صدري يوجعني وعز قدرك ركبي يوجعيني.
كنا ما نستخدم حتى نغسل أولادنا إلا يعني بأيام معدودة.
كنت أغيب على المدرسة لأن أنا كنت أروح الديمة.
حتى وإن كان يجي الأمطار تروح هدر لأنه ما في معي خزانة.
الوقت نشتري ب30,000 هي معها استهلاك ما يغلقش معها الشهر.
بس راح تطلب الله ولا أي حاجة عبلا كل شغلك على الماء.
Welcome back. Displaced people in Lahj Governorate continues to suffer, especially during winter season. They lack basic life necessities and keep calling for the international organizations to provide them with food and shelter. The following report gives more details.
Najiba, who is a displaced woman in El Shawkani camp, is trying to fulfill some of her children's food with what she can afford, despite its scarcity and efficiency. However, she was unable to protect them from the winter cold, diseases, and epidemics in the tent in which she lives with her 8 children and her sick husband after a journey of displacement from Al Hudaydah to Lahj Governorate.
We've been displaced due to the ongoing war. Our homes have been collapsed and we didn't have jobs to rely on. We came here looking for a shelter and a safe place, but we became homeless.
About 800 families live in El Shawkani camp after they were displaced to it due to the Houthi bombing of residential neighborhoods in Al Hudaydah. But these families lack the most basic necessities of life, and with the advent of the new year, their condition worsened, as simple tents do not protect them from the cold and mosquitoes.
A Shawkani camp contains around 800 to 850 families displaced from Hudaydah Governorate. All these displacements are due to the suffering of war, and most of the families stayed here for longer than 5 years. We all here suffer the cold of winter and lack of supplies and medicines.
Thousands of families have been displaced during the past years from the coastal areas and settled in camps near the Ribat region amid the difficult conditions they are living through day by day.
The Houthi militia has begun building a wall on some lands in Bani Matar district to seize by its force. Tribal sources in Bani Matar said that the rebels built a large wall for nearly 2 weeks on lands it seized by force and sent military crew to carry out the operation. The militia has resumed armed robbery of vast agricultural lands in Bani Matar since the late days of last year and has begun building a fence to control real estate. The dialysis center in the Republican Hospital in Taz received a shipment of medical supplies. These supplies were provided by member of Presidential Leadership Council in response to an appeal made by patients with kidney failure. During the delivery of support, Deputy Director General of Public Health said that these solutions will save the lives of many patients with kidney failure. The Minister of Public Health discussed with the head of the Yemen Aid Organization the needs that include support and assistance. They talked about projects with substantial impact and building on the ministry's plan in humanitarian needs and aspects related to health care. The minister pointed to the current needs of medicines for chronic diseases such as dialysis, cancer, and mental illnesses. The Supreme Authority of Medicines issued an announcement regarding the renewal of license to practice the profession of drug importing. The authority called on traders to renew their license through the website of the Supreme Authority for Medical Supplies. The authority agreed on the provision of a number of documents necessary for that, including an official request from the trader. In Al-Dala, malnutrition continues to haunt children in the city. Local health sources said that thousands of cases have been recorded in the city recently. The following report gives more details.
Only tears express their hunger and pain as a result of their acute malnutrition disease, and as a result, they were admitted to As-Salam Governmental Hospital in Al-Dala to try to cure these children. Specialists confirm that the number of injured children is constantly increasing, and they attribute this to the widening of poverty and the unemployment rate due to the economic deterioration, war, and the displacement of thousands of families to the north and west of Al-Dala.
I'm displeased, and I came here with my daughter to Al-Salam Hospital. We are suffering from the cold weather and malnutrition. We are also suffering from the hard living conditions of the war.
Medical sources at the Health and Population Office in Al Dala Governorate confirmed that they received 1,175 cases of severely malnourished children during the last 2 months of the past year, and that a large part of those cases come from the camps of displaced families in Al Dala.
طبعا نحن نستقبل عشرات الحالات شهريا يمكن تصل إلى 30 حالة 25.
We receive thousands of patients each month from about 25 to 30,000 cases that include malnutrition. Most of these cases we receive come from the displacement camps. These patients cannot afford any treatment. We're trying to help these children and we ask for the support from the international organizations.
War, disease, and hunger continue to threaten many families in Al Dala Governorate, causing the spread of many diseases, including severe malnutrition. The people in Yemen are calling on the government and humanitarian organizations to intervene and save citizens from this disastrous situation.
Here is a reminder of the main headlines. The international community intensifies efforts to revive the installed peace process in Yemen. Houthis force civil servants to sign disputed code of professional conduct. Houthis paved the way to seize bank funds in the areas under their control. This is the end of the news. It was Abir Ali and thank you for watching.